Tripping with your mind, tripping with your mind. What we doing, what we doing, what we tripping with your mind, tripping with your mind. Hey, tripping with your mind,
I can't be biased. Fuck that. I'm
Either
done.
way, well, welcome. Another episode of Tripping with Tremont, and today we have our special guest, Jojo.
Hey.
We doing just one word, Jojo, or are we doing Jojo like?
It's
classic?
Jojo.
Just Jojo.
That's what it is.
Ooh,
yeah,
that sounds like a brand right there. Just Jojo.
Just Jojo. That's funny. No, that's not branded, but I go by Jojo. That's how I introduce myself to people, but people have their own spin on it. Joe.
Okay.
Joanna. It doesn't matter to me.
Joe.
Joanna.
You got
that's
all
my
the,
song.
You got all the fun songs. Like they just had
I
a
love
song. They had an old song. Like
Awesome.
all the good Joe songs.
Oh man, I need to make a compilation.
Basically, Jolene. Miley
the whole-
Cyrus brought that back. So for those who do not know you, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by profession, I'm a hairstylist and makeup artist. But in just life, I'm a music goer, foodie, traveler. I'm going to be a new podcast host.
Ooh, tell us about the podcast. What's the podcast about?
For sure. It's called True Effin' Story, and
Okay.
it's about behind the scenes in the TV and film industry, also the hospitality industry, where my co-host Saucy G is a part of, and then all the wild things that goes down, so you could expect a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby!
Yes!
Yeah.
It's gonna be saucy!
Yeah!
Ooh.
You're definitely coming on.
Ooh.
Definitely coming on.
I do background, but
you
I
have
still
a
got some stuff. Yo, I
to promote.
I do have a podcast to promote.
Exactly,
Yes.
so you're on.
Tripping with Tremont. So, Tripping with Tremont, we are going to be talking your experiences in that psychedelic realm. So,
Yeah.
what has been your kind of history of psychedelics? Like, what was your, what did you think about in high school, like middle school, when they demonized everything?
Right, I guess, like, even from a young age, I've been such a curious cat, like, just, very unbiased to situations. It's like, oh, what does this do? What does that do? And so when high school came around and drugs were, like, being introduced, I kind of, like, kept an open mind. I mean, I wasn't something like, oh, let me just, like, pop anything in my mouth, but let me get enough information to form my own opinion and make a decision off that, and then explore in that way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Was that, how did your parents, like, were your parents kind of like the conservative parents? They dug the free spirit natureness of you, gave you the ability to kind of make your own decisions? Like, what would you say?
You know what? That's so interesting because they had a little bit of both. I will say they were strict with me growing up as far as it came to drugs, especially. Because in my culture, in the Greek culture, alcohol is, not a bad thing. How they demonize it here in America, people, like, abuse it. They binge drink, things like that. But when it comes to drugs, I feel like in my culture, it's just such a bad thing.
Not even weed? Like, weed isn't
Not even weed. No. Like,
Greeks?
weed's, like, such a harsh drug.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. At least that's how it was when I was growing up. But on the other side of things, my parents were really, like, open to me forming my own opinion and me choosing my own path, of course with their, like, guidance and direction. So in other aspects I did get the freedom, but I feel like when it came to certain, even, like, sleepovers, I could not sleep over people's houses.
Ooh.
I know. When it came to, like, social things, drugs, yeah, I mean.
So would you say, like, kind of like into high school you started just like, or just even just during high school you started, I don't know, experimenting with psychedelics and weed and all the other kind of
So
stuff?
I remember in middle school, drugs were like a little bit of a talk here and there. It was more like I heard this from my older cousin or sister or brother, and it was just more so of I was aware that drugs are around, but in that age, I'm like drugs are bad, okay, dare,
I know
like,
it was literally
like
one or
we
the
were in
other.
dare.
It was like, yo, just period, drugs are bad, and then it was like, alcohol and weed and cigarettes or something was the gateway to higher things, and it's like,
Exactly.
eh.
Right.
Eh.
So, come high school where I don't know, I guess drugs were definitely more around, people were partaking now in front of you, things like that. I'm like, huh, well, there's a curiosity there because if that person's doing it and they seem fine or they seem like they're having a good time,
Mhm.
like, or they're not getting hurt, then sure,
Why not?
what does this do,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So walk me through like your first experience. Was it, shrooms? Was it acid? Like whatever. What would you say your first experience like, you know?
So I can't pinpoint my very first experience, but I do have this wild experience, this memory from like high school. I remember it was like our graduation gift to like ourselves, like me and my whole friend group, and we were going to Bonnaroo. So this was like
Wow. High
graduation gift.
school?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Grad
that's big high school. Big high school money.
Big high school money. Oh, for sure. Bonner. Oh, yeah. But again, my parents would not let me go. So
Okay.
I'm over there like for days trying to convince him, sit down at the dinner table, like, please, please, please. This is why it's going to be chill. Then my friend got her mom to sign off on it. So she calls my dad, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be great. I'm going to be there, this and that. They connected on, actually, she's half Greek. So they connected on that. Boom. Bada
Mm.
bam. Like, that's
Mhm.
like meant for me to go. So it's funny. So we're like packing to go. And I remember the day before um, going on the road trip down to Tennessee, I like acquire all these party favors, right? So
Oh, okay.
so I have some acid. I've acquired some acid now, and I know I'm gonna like take it, and I'm very excited to like take it during the weekend. But for some reason, I was like excited
Was
to
this your
like
first time?
I don't know. It wasn't my
Okay.
first
Okay.
time,
Okay.
but no, with acid, I think this was my first time with acid
Okay.
actually, because of this. Because I take it before we even like the day before we hit the road. And I'm like, damn, I can't be in my room. I need to be outside. I
Wait,
need
so
to
you
be
took
active.
the acid the day before you're on the road to even going to the trip?
Exactly.
What, to see how it's gonna be?
Yes.
Oh man. Okay.
So I
Wow.
call my girl up and I'm like, I need to come over. I'm tripping balls.
Oh.
So I get in the car and I go and I'm like, whoa, like what the fuck am I doing here? I do not condone driving on acid, by the way.
We do
I
not
don't condone doing that.
you do not want to drive on psychedelics. Period.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
This
Absolutely
is why she
not.
was in high school.
Do not operate any sort of machinery. Exactly. I was in high school. My first time, probably one of my first times taking acid.
Okay.
And I like hop in the car and I go. And my friend told me the same thing. She's like, "Why would you take it before the
Oh.
festival?" She's like, "You're supposed to take it there." I'm like,
Wow.
well, here we are.
Okay, so what was the rest of that night like? Because this is your
It was
first
chill.
time.
I was still excited. I just like needed to calm down. I'm like, okay, whoa, now I know what to expect. Um, and I was up. I was ready to go.
Yeah, because
So
I mean, you can really just not need sleep at all
exactly.
with that.
For some reason, it just like keeps you up for hours and hours.
Okay, well, did you end up doing more when you were at Bonnaroo and everything?
Totally.
Okay.
There was actually same trip, same um that weekend at Bonnaroo. I end up doing some more acid. Bonnaroo's huge, okay? The campgrounds are ginormous. I end up getting lost and I cannot find my tent, so I'm like circling around for like hours, at least
That's
3 hours. I'm like
scary.
visiting people's tents. There was like most people were like cool. It was like very welcoming. But then
So
there's
you're
like
just
definitely
like,
some
hello.
shady camps. Definitely some
Oh.
shady camps where I'm like snap out of it. I'm like, okay, I need to go. Just like something my instinct is telling me I gotta go. And then I just like dip set and on
Oh
my
my
way
god.
eventually found my camp. Thank God.
Oh my god.
And I'm here
So what
today.
did you learn from that experience? Be careful taking it.
Don't wander alone. Don't do it
Yeah.
alone. Be with a buddy. Do it with someone you trust. I think now as I'm older, more mature, more experienced with psychedelics, I wouldn't even take it at like a crowd or a festival like
You
that,
wouldn't?
really. I would
Really?
not. I would microdose, but like as far as full on like balls to the wall tripping, I wouldn't do it in like a full crowd like that, like a music festival. No, I'd rather do it somewhere where I'm comfortable.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah,
You had enough of the extremes.
exactly.
Okay. So what's your ideal what's your ideal trip?
Just somewhere being out in nature, either like daytime or nighttime. I think Alita said barefoot. That's like my favorite thing, just walking around barefoot, really like
Taking in the energy.
grounding, grounding yourself and just being in touch with Mother Nature.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So now if you could trip with anyone, who would it be, living or dead, and why?
For me, since I'm very like music oriented, it would have to be just going back to the 60s and like that Woodstock era of like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, like they were
Ooh.
just, I
You know, a
heard
lot of stuff
Jimmy
got
had the
correct.
headband with the strips on him while like playing guitar and stuff. Yeah,
Oh God! Wow,
so
that's a
it's just,
thing.
oh my
Is
god,
that a
yeah.
thing that everybody kind of knows?
I think that's like something I've definitely heard
Oh God.
before.
Oh
Yeah.
well, I mean, Jimi Hendrix is like definitely like that dude that
Psychedelic,
is
trippy.
known for like channeling the psychedelic powers and being the beast that he is known for today.
Right, and then just like transferring it through music, right?
Yeah, because that's one of the things that I notice just whenever I do, trip. It's the music makes such a difference, and just being
Right.
able to connect with the vibes of who created it, like all the you can even just kind of hear all the instruments and everything like simultaneously in it. It's just something so
It's
magical with
something
that.
about the frequency, right? And like at night,
Yes.
just on a daily, like if I'm just trying to wind down or my mind's racing at night or I'm like going through bits of insomnia or whatever, I'll just put on like 432 hertz sound music, meditation music,
Okay.
and that frequency, just something about it just so relaxes me. It puts me right out. I feel refreshed.
Is that the theta one for dreaming? I'm trying to think.
There's different frequencies. I know 432 hertz is like there's a manifestation frequency.
Okay. Yeah,
There's
binaural beat frequencies, right? Like,
uh
because I know
huh
there's binaural beat. Like, I've listened to those in the day. Has been a minute, but so
yeah
432.
432 I think is one of them. Don't quote me on that, but
Okay.
there's like I said, so many different frequencies, and I have them on my playlist. And like for me, I like to put them on at night when I'm just like laying in bed or and just soak those frequencies in. It just kind of like triggers something in the brain
Oh,
for me.
literally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, uh, okay. So now my question. Oh, it was gonna be. I'm forgetting just a little bit.
That mushroom tea hitting you?
It's
Need to drink
hmm.
some more of that.
Okay. So, do you have a particular like crazy experience where you're like, "Oh man, that I don't want to happen."
Ooh, like a bad trip?
Yeah,
Oh
I mean, if there is a
man.
such thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a such thing too. And I think um again, same scenario, like the big crowds. I remember one year Lollapalooza, I go pretty much every year.
Hey, shout out.
Right? Chi-town represent. Um and I don't know, I guess I like kind of just wung it and like went by myself and like met up with like
Ooh,
people
don't
like
go
throughout the
by
day.
yourself.
Well,
But then again,
it's
it's a journey, right?
Lollapalooza, it's Chicago. Like we're comfortable. Like I'm comfortable with my city, so been there before, especially to Lala. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, like check it out for a little bit. I could always leave, right? So remember, I think I took acid again. It's always the acid because mushrooms, I really don't really have a bad experience on mushrooms ever. But I
Word.
think what it is with acid and any psychedelic, I think you have to be in that right mindset because my experience at Lollapalooza, I remember like also getting paranoid at one point. I was having fun, but then I got paranoid because I was alone. Then I got sick, so I like had to go like in a corner and throw
Uh,
up. And then that sobered me
typical.
up a little bit, so I felt better. So it was really like ups and downs of a trip, like the good and the bad. And then,
The roller
after like a
coaster.
few experiences like that, coming to the conclusion like, hey, doing this in a crowd setting or a setting like that is just not for me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So, can you tell everyone about your podcast, your handles, and all of that? Where can they find you? Let's get a
Absolutely,
little bit of that.
yeah. Check out trueFNStoryPodcast.com. You could check out the little promo video there and
The
like
big promo video.
yeah,
Girl,
yeah,
upsell yourself. Big
okay.
promo video.
That part. Yeah, and just see like what we talk about on there. See if it's, your vibe, and I'd love to get you on there.
Hey, all right, I'm down. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming to Tripping with Tremont.
Thanks, T.
I
Thanks for having
appreciate
me.
you and
For sure.
love, peace, chicken grease.